Right, so this is going to be an experience. We're trying to do an Istanbul to Aberdeen speedrun. Real-time attack, so we're going to do some funky things with ferries. We might not get that far because it's a lot of driving to do. I don't rate my chances in being able to finish it within a good amount of time. Certainly when I'm still just getting the hang of where we're going. I'm probably not going to push it as hard as I would, though once I get stuck in, who knows, knowing me. It's getting late, so I don't want to take too long. At the very least, I just want to test out some of the warp points that I'll be using, hopefully, for the RTA. It's going to be really gnarly trying to get through some of these, and I don't know whether or not I can warp across country boundaries or not. That will change things depending on whether we can or not. Yeah, let's just get into it, shall we? Because this is going to take a while. And obviously, I'll probably end up just crashing and taking a huge amount of damage. And then we'll just call it. But I'm probably just going to upload it regardless, because it'll be interesting. I want to be able to refer back to it if I need to.
Get on with it.
So, let's put the lights on. Now, useful thing to note, at this particular speedrun, starting from Istanbul, you have to start from these services. They're the easternmost services, not the ones that are the quick travel point. It's not the Mercedes shop, which there's been a few people make that mistake. So we're just going to wait and go 3, 2, 1, and go. And we immediately have to stop, unfortunately, because of the gate. Again, we're going to try not to go too hard on this one, because I know that it should be rough. But I also know what I'm like, and I will probably get carried away. Also, the engine noise is much louder than it should be. I need to turn that down. So I believe if I come up here, I should be able to walk to the next services across. Now the confusing thing will be that it'll just say Istanbul, and I don't know if it'll be the right ones. So let's see if it takes me backwards or forwards. It'll be a good learning experience regardless. But I'm closer at that point, I believe, to the Mercedes one.
Never mind.
Yes, I have gone to the Mercedes one. See, now that's fun. And here we go. How do I get out? I should probably have researched this. How do I actually get out? Here. I get out here. So then I have to get out to the main road. I don't actually know if this is faster than just staying on the main road. It honestly feels like it might just be better off staying on the main road in the first place. I don't know these roads very well. Okay, that engine noise is actually getting really annoying. Now, I think I'm stuck on this side of the road, and I don't know if I can get through the toll booths, so that'll be the next challenge.
Keep left.
Should be able to go through. There's no way that it can give me an invisible wall through those, so... Okay, being that this is a like, trial speedrun, I'm actually going to just turn the sound down on that truck engine. I thought it already was, but that's much more punishing than I thought. And it's just going to really annoy me. Let's try that. Still a bit louder than I would like, but it's better than it was. It's going to be slightly less headache-inducing. Starting at nighttime is kind of bad, to be honest. Now, I'm fairly sure that there's not much point in doing any more assistance warping while I'm in Turkey, because it just takes me too far off the main road. I'm really going to need the GPS on for a lot of this. In fact, I think I need it on that view a lot of the time. Because this is just a sort of test run, I can also just make the traffic disappear at various points if I feel I have to avoid some sort of run ending crash. So this was also on the latest version, and it would probably be better done on a slightly older one. Kind of the oldest that you'd be able to do this route, like when they added the Black Sea, basically. I should probably have gone across to the correct side of the road at some point along here, because I would have had the inside line. That's one of the other things that we're just sorting out, is we should be able to see where we could do that. Maybe this gas station up here might have that ability as well. Just looking for gaps in the center line. Sometimes the rest area areas have them, other times they don't. Seems this one doesn't. That's fine. I'm just gonna have to put up with the GPS getting frustrated at me as well for driving on the wrong side of the road. I probably shouldn't even bother having them on, to be honest, because I'm gonna be disobeying a lot of what he suggests. I've got to just try and remember how I mapped things out for myself, but I can also just refer to the map as much as I need to. Again, this is kind of a first step situation of just testing it out. I know how to drive fast in this game. I know approximately the right routes. I know some of the thresholds for where I should probably be doing the assistance warps. But this is very much a learning experience still. It's also been a long time since I've played this game specifically. I've been playing more American Truck recently, and even then I have not been playing that very much. Can I squeeze through here? Yes, I can. Good. Oh, I can bypass the nearest way station, or nearby way station. Thank you. So gracious of you. Should probably just put cruise control on to save my finger some strain at this point. Let's just click it up to 190 just in case we get lucky. We get a tailwind on a downhill. So we're going to blow through here. I don't believe I want to turn right, because the warp points through... Is it Hungary? No, it's not Hungary, is it? It's Bulgaria. Warp points through Bulgaria, I think, are tricky. I'm not sure what the best way through is. That's part of what I'm hoping to learn, is just getting some splits down so then I can do some comparisons. It's a bit hard to compare against nothing. There is a way that you can skip through a bit of the border controls as well. I remember someone in the community posting a video on Discord about it. The problem with the latest version of the game is that the handling of the trucks is a little bit slow at high speeds on corners. Unfortunate. But yeah, I can't remember how to get through. At the very least, I think I want to be on the correct side of the road for going through the border crossing, because it probably won't let me otherwise. Again, there, I believe, are ways that I can skip through, but I should keep going this way because this is for trucks. I haven't researched how to do it, and I think you're at risk of taking damage doing it as well, which is not ideal. So we're just going to have to take it slow through here. Any warping at this point will take me either back to Aberdeen, which I don't want, or it'll take me off to the left to, I forget the name of the town. And I also don't want that, because there's a lot of right angles to have to deal with there. See, I can't remember the best way. I think it might involve like skipping around to the right hand side up there. Might be how I'm supposed to get through. Up here's the place you actually have to stop and get them to check your papers and stuff.
Let's find a new route.
Just be ready to go. Thank you. They don't shoot you if you jump the gun or something, thankfully. There, we just got to find our way out. And now we need to go through the same sort of thing to get into the next country. Plovdiv, that's the one. I don't want to go to Plovdiv, I'm fairly certain. Oof. Only 1% damage, thankfully. Can we just blast through around here? Looks like it. Aim for one that actually has a spinner, because otherwise that won't work. Stop just short. Checking documents. As you can tell, skipping it would be very useful, because it is a lot of time you're wasting. Okay, so once we're through this area, that's when I will split for Turkey. I'm gonna just take enough damage that I'll get engine failures just from slamming into border control posts. Okay, let's split there. That'll do. Now we've got to hope that we can get some good roads and good traffic for the next bit. And then we're going to do our next service warp a bit further north. And again, I don't know exactly where I need to do it. I've tried plotting it out by just like looking at the map and holding my fingers up to it and stuff, but oh no, I'm gonna end up in Plovdiv. Can we keep this going? We might be alright. Okay, we're gonna keep going on this side of the road now. But I do want to get across to the other side again if I can. Mental note, keep both hands on the controller when cornering. Instead of trying to gesticulate. But yes, I approximated distances between services and hopefully determined where some good spots are, but we'll see how well that works out. And again, I need to be on the other side of the road to do this bit up here well, which I don't think I'm going to be able to do. It's kind of amusing that I just vaulted the barrier back there. Okay, so how do I get over to the other side of the road there? I need to go over here and then loop around, don't I? Or I could have gone down there and then back. We'll go this way for now. Far from ideal, but so at this point I should be able to loop. Yes, I am on the correct part. Cool, we'll just keep going on the wrong side of the road for now. Probably doesn't matter to actually, honestly, being on this side is probably good, unless there's a way to cross the center line along here. That might actually be smoother than the equivalent up here to get off at the next intersection. Not sure. It's one of those things that is difficult to really determine, especially when you consider the state at which I got into that position in the first place. So there's no way to cross the center line along here at all that I can see. And we're coming up to the intersection here. So we can actually take a much smoother exit off this side instead. I mean, it's a moot point because I think other than jumping over the barrier like I did in a crash, I don't think there was a way to actually cross the service line back there. I don't think I was meant to.
Let's find a new route.
So now at this point, I need to remember the names of places. Unfortunately, I didn't think of them. Ooh, that was close. I'm fairly sure I need to keep going. Oh, my GPS is screwed up now. Okay, let's just go into the map. I mean, I've wasted enough time anyway. I need to get rid of that pin, because otherwise that's going to really confuse me. So I want Pleven, not Plovdiv.
Time to hit the road.
So along here is where we can start checking to see where we go. This takes me all the way back to Aberdeen. Well, that answers my question of whether or not I can jump across countries, because Aberdeen is back in Turkey. So that's interesting. I thought that they might put a barrier, like just confound the way that they normally draw the lines for the service barriers based on the borders, because being able to just jump across borders seems unlikely, to say the least. So somewhere after this intersection should be where it starts being to Pleven instead. In fact, right there. Cool. And we're going to take the time to repair our truck too.
I'll find a new route.
As you can see, we're using a load remover as well, which is very useful, and I would please request that everyone running this game in RTA or IGT uses it, please. Pretty please. Right, so next stop. We probably, instead of going that way, I want to get back onto the main road as soon as I can, so I want to go this way, I believe.
Turn right.
That seems reasonable. Please don't hit me, thank you. Yeah. Actually, it probably didn't make any difference, really. Yeah, unfortunately the roads through here are a little bit tricky. But I still think it is the better alternative.
Turn left. Get ready.
I was hoping that he was going to keep going straight. You're going to get a lot of facial expressions. We'll try and keep the language to a minimum, but yeah, there will be facial expressions, that's for sure.
Turn left.
I miss the old patch handling. I fully understand and accept that this is more realistic,
Go straight.
but sometimes that's not what you want. Let's try not to flip the truck. Come on. We're just trying to go fast here. Going sideways is not going fast. It's one of the really important lessons to take away from... I've been watching a lot of the first step on GDQ hotfix a lot lately, and one of the things they reinforce a lot is that when you are first learning a run, obviously this is... I'm well versed in playing this game, but I've not done this run before, this particular route. And you can always spend more time. When you are learning first, you can spend more time. That means taking things slightly slower in order to achieve a cleaner result in the interim. So be it. You can push it harder later and whittle things down. I need to remind myself what the next town is that I want to see. So I'm trying to hop across the border to Craiova. Or however you're meant to pronounce that. I'm sorry for butchering your language. Back to Pleven currently. Yeah, I was kind of hoping it would be on this straight, but I think it's after this set of intersections. But we will try again here. Back to Pleven. We are now going north, which is nice, so back to Pleven. So I'm fairly sure from how I measured it out with my fingers that where I've got the GPS pin is about where to expect to do it. But it's always worth checking. Because if you go past the division point, then you're never going to know if it was earlier. Oh, there it is. It is basically where I had my pin. That's Bulgaria done. I think. Okay. Oh, didn't even need to repair, that's nice.
Turn right. Turn left.
There's just so many places for the traffic to screw you over in this run. So the next bit that I want is just after a viewpoint, I think. I can't remember if I was running out of GPS pins on a run this long. I usually like to put a pin down just before I should be warping, but there's just too many in this run. So there was a few where I was just kind of hoping that I would remember and just assuming things. So I believe it's just after a landmark or a viewpoint position. I'd love to be able to skip this bit, but sadly, unlikely. Just remember to brake before turning so that I don't flip. Unfortunately, the more recent handling tends to make things more likely to flip than skid. Dunno. Can I turn the traction control off? 750 horsepower truck? I probably don't want to turn the traction control off. I mean, if I do get into a sticky situation and have to warp somewhere that I don't want to just to effect repairs, so be it. I would rather not, but I can always just take the time to get back on track. Or if I have to backtrack, then so be it. I'm hoping to make this a submittable run, which means that I wouldn't take, like, run-ending damage. But that's a pretty lofty expectation when you're learning. Something I struggle with a lot when doing runs, and like plotting new routes and stuff, is that kind of analysis paralysis where it takes you ages to even start doing the run because you're just not sure about, you're not positive as, is this the best way to do it? Should I be going here? Should I be going there? And the best thing to do is just get in there and test it. And just do a run. It seems so simple, but it can be very difficult to get to that point in any game. In this game, in Subnautica, any game, it can be very difficult to just stop and think and go, no, I just need to do this. But especially with a run like this, where there's just so many determining factors that could matter in terms of where to call for services, and just route choices in general. But you can't expect to solve that all immediately. Like, in most games, it takes a community years to perfect and to route out differences. It took us a long time to figure things out. Tampere Catania has undergone so many changes. Especially after they added in some of the other changes to various things and got new ferries and stuff. Okay, so here's the viewpoint. So once again, I need to remind myself, where am I going? I'm hopefully getting all the way up to Timshora. Again, however you pronounce that. Not back to where I came from. So that's back to where I came from. Just after the viewpoint. Hopefully I'm at the very least going to be able to use this video as reference. So I will know, okay, I need to get to this point. I can work out, you know, these certain landmarks. Like this, for example. The blue sign says where I'm going. That's where I warp. And then swap back to GPS so I can see where I'm heading next. So that cut off a huge, awkward bit off the journey, which is nice. Unfortunately, there's lots more awkward bits of the journey still to go, but it's a nice one to not have to do. I would like it if your on-ramps were smoother, please. Gotta say, after playing a lot of American Truck Simulator, I am A, loving a flat nose truck again instead of one with a long nose, and 2, loving the fact that I have a 750 horsepower engine. Best you get in ATS is 625, and that's on an old truck with a long nose that's really annoying to handle. once again,
Turn
I'll be able to take this corner faster, I'm sure, with a bit of practice. But I should not agonize over how best to do corners when I am first starting to figure this out. Like up here, I could probably go on the wrong side of the road by going up and around, and that would probably be faster than going to the other side, but for now I have no reason to believe that that is the best choice to make. If nothing else, I would just have to cross back over again by the time of the border crossing, I think. So let's just leave it at that. Actually, I don't think I do the border crossing. You know what, maybe it would have been better to be on the left side, not the right side, because then I'm closer to where I'm going next. Where I'm going next is hopefully across the border to Szczecin. Now that I know that I can warp across borders from Craiova, and then up here is where I hope to do it again. Because I can just see the services come into view on the left-hand side of my GPS down there, so I just need to get far enough north that I'm far enough away from where I came from, and closer to where I want to go next. And that should be soon, I think. And again, this is one where I haven't actually marked out. So that's back where I came from. It does take me a couple of hands to do these warps, so I need to be careful. That's back where I came from. Maybe after this intersection. That's back where I came from. On this corner. Back where I came from. Around this corner. Green sign coming into view. Back where I came from still. I really want to avoid the border crossing if I can. There we go. So, just once the border crossing is in view, that's when I do it. Okay. And this is where it gets complicated.
Finding new routes.
And it's at night. Okay, it's not complicated yet. For this one, it's just up the road and I should be able to just jump to Budapest, I think it is. I'm going to be overly cautious on some of these corners since it's nighttime and I can't see where the outcome of it is. Also, these are some of the old nasty intersections. These are like the intersections you get in the UK, which are just really skinny and really annoying, and I've slowly been going through and upgrading them in most other countries, or a lot of other countries. New DLCs certainly are much better. But it takes a while to get through everything, unfortunately. Now, once again, it's just a case of hopefully when the next services comes into view on the GPS and the one that I just came from disappears from view, that's the time to do another skip. Don't know where the best spot to do that is going to be. For now, we just need to hope that we can avoid traffic. I think it might be that service station up ahead. I know I had to go a reasonable way along this motorway. I was kind of tempted to actually go further to the west and try and jump my way through that way instead. But then I had a fun idea of using the ferries. I don't care if it's actually faster or such, it's going to be funnier. And that matters to me. A bit of a slide there. So soon as when I should be starting to see whether or not I can jump forward again. So we might just start to coast around here. Nope, that's back where I came from. Oops. Around the corner. Budapest. There we go.
Okay.
Oh, that's not Hungary done yet. Or is it? Where's Budapest? Is that Hungary? Can't even remember.
Never mind. I'll find a new route.
Because the next place I'm going is Bratislava, which is Slovakia, I believe.
Go straight.
So that's definitely not Hungary anymore. So that jumps me forward a fair way and past some annoying intersections, which is nice. And I'm hoping to do the same with the next one, jump forward to Bratislava. This is an annoying intersection because it's not controlled. We got lucky. You do not always get lucky. And now we're going to get into some twisty back roads, which means going a little bit slower. Again, I was wondering whether or not, if I went left, the idea is I would find myself in Vienna and try and find my way from there. But the recent changes to Austria has really made a mess of that in terms of service skipping. Again, down patching to something just like 141 or something might solve a lot of those problems. I'm not sure yet. Not something I'm going to figure out without testing. And to test you need a baseline. Whether it's me who does it or one of the others in the community, hopefully this will serve as a resource that can be used to show conclusively, oh yeah, that's a bad way to do things. AJ, you fool, why did you even think that was a good idea? Because I had no reason to think that it wasn't. Give me a reason, in the immortal words of the clause. So I think around here somewhere might actually be where it can start to jump forwards. Or it might be a lot further along. That's one way to find out. Budapest.
Recomputing.
Is that good? No, I want to Bratislava, not Budapest. I've just gone backwards. Ugh. B words. Too many B words. Well, at least it's daytime now, so... Hey, instant time save next time I try this.
Turn left.
That is part of trial and error.
Go straight.
So I know it's not there. Very silly mistake to make. Never mind. This is why I should actually have the town names written on my splits instead. I only have like 7 splits. I should actually just have it broken down by each individual service skip that I expect to take. Problem is then it's annoying if I change my mind and shuffle things around, whereas just renaming one to a different country or something should be easier. Like instead of Poland, it might be Austria. And I know, for example, that I need to slow down a bit more for this corner now. Learning. Learning is good.
Turn left.
On a smaller run, like Edinburgh to London or something, messing up a warp like that, I would have just reset. But given the length of this run, that's going to be the least of my worries, so we're just going to keep this moving. So up here is not better, this is the border, basically. And we want to keep going past the border for a little bit longer. But we are going to test again soon, so not Budapest, Bratislava. Not Budapest. Wait until it's the different one, the BR, not BU. I'm second guessing myself every time I bring up that window now. Even more than usual. Oh, that's interesting. That's not where I expected to be going. Let's just take a quick look at the map, because that actually might be better. Oh, that is where I'm going. Oh, I'm an idiot. That is exactly where I'm going. It's not Bratislava, it's BA, not BR. That was where I'd originally thought of going. That's right. That's a problem. So, that means that that is the one that we want. Good. Now we're in Slovenia? Maybe? I can't actually remember.
Let's find a new route.
So this is a bit annoying that I have to backtrack a bit to get out of town, but the roads that we skipped were really annoying, so I don't feel too bad about that. Now we can get onto some probably even more annoying roads. I also hate how when I brake suddenly my engine turns off. That's apparently a safety feature. Not sure why. Kind of annoying. Maybe having the braking intensity at full is what makes that happen. I don't know if like feathering the brakes might help.
Go straight.
Generally I'm a pretty all or nothing kind of guy. When it comes to brakes it's usually nothing. So yeah. So the next spot to jump ahead is a bit further along. I can't remember if it's before or after that awkward zigzag. I believe it's quite a ways after. So I think it's Krakow next, and then Katowice, I think. These are at least some fun roads. I need to keep my thumb near the start button to jump to the menu if I come around a corner and find a bus or a truck or something. Okay, I do have a GPS pin for that one. For this one, that's right. Because I was fairly sure it was up. I think after that S-bend, but I wanted to put the pin beforehand because if I can skip it, that'll be really good, so I want to test whether or not I can. Oh, hi. Not worth deleting the traffic for. This is a really awkward intersection.
Turn right.
Oh no, railway crossing, my nemesis. Safe this time. This is a nice long stretch of going fast, hopefully. Also a very nice castle up on the hill. Nice to stretch the old legs, you know. And then we have to brake very suddenly at the end. In fact, I think we have to brake a little bit here. We're closing in on that hairpin very soon. And if nothing else, I want to slow down because I want to see whether or not can I skip ahead. No. I also need to remember where it is I'm going. Basically, I know that it's not where I came from. And this time I aim to remember where it was that I came from. Yeah, it's after the services, I'm fairly sure. But hey, it's worth checking. We're going south again now, so I assume we won't be back in here. Yeah, here's the border, that's right. So I think it's after the border. So what happens if we go around here? Oh. Krakow. That's what we want. I'm fairly confident that's the correct one. So it is just after the border.
Recomputing.
And now we just need to get onto the road and get to about where that gas station is and then jump to Katowice.
Keep
Whether or not it's worth doing that versus just driving the distance, hard to say sometimes. But whenever the area that you're skipping involves sharp turns, like this one does, there will be a toll booth and an off-ramp with a curve. So I'm fairly confident that it will be worth skipping that, even though you're having to get up to speed again from stationary from the services. It just cuts out a lot of that area that you're having to slow down an awful lot anyway. So those are the sorts of things that you've got to consider. Like the Paris to Berlin run, for example, we don't jump a full lot once we're on the home straight to Berlin, and that's because the amount of time it takes you to get up to speed again, it's just not worth it. I have to actually stop at these, don't I? Yes. But I have to actually stop on them. Please replace all of these with ones that I can just drive through. Thank you, SES Software. Sincerely, your biggest fan. So it's a bit after this gas station up here, because any time before then it's just going to take me back, I'm fairly certain. So let's try anywhere along here. Crack off, sure enough. Crack off. Katowice, there we go. Nice. Now we head north. This is where it's a little bit ugly in terms of how to get past some of the towns, but no way is particularly clean. That's honestly one of the things that I like about this category, is that it's really not clear immediately what the best route is. I imagine it will crystallize over time, but at least for now, it's very difficult to actually tell on the face of it what is the best way to go. And there's a lot of really convoluted intersections between service borders. There's a lot of permutations of towns that you can get between. And yeah, I'm sure if you knew all of the data points and crunched it out with some algorithms or something, then yeah, you might be able to figure it out easily. But me, a mere mortal, cannot do that. And sometimes it is a case of, yeah, that'll give you the distance. It'll tell you that, yes, this is the bit with the least distance. If you walk from A to B to C, these are the things that will be the shortest distance to drive. That might not be the fastest, because it depends on how you drive that distance. If it's on the open road like this, like a big stretch like this, you can afford to drive a fair bit further on a stretch like this than on a twisty road where you're not able to fully open up. It's quite incredible the difference that just a few kilometers an hour can actually make. So up here we've got another GPS point. And we should actually remind ourselves where I'm hoping to get to first, probably, but we'll see if we actually cross a boundary first. I should check now, actually. Nope, still back to Katowice. Lodz, now. Is that where I want to go? Because I can't remember. Yes, that is where I want to go. Cool. Now, again, this is one of those ones where it's like, I'm not actually sure if it's best, because this is all open road. Okay. And now I'm having to start from stationary again. But it is just free distance. Is that distance free real estate? Remains to be seen. I mean, it is a few intersections that we're skipping out. Like, Europe is small compared to the United States a lot of the time and such like that. The distances can be deceiving. You think that, oh, it's ages to go from such and such and such and such, and it's actually not. But at the same time, a little bit still goes a long way in terms of driving time. Like, yeah, 170 k's an hour is a lot. But if I'm cutting out 200 kilometers, that's also a lot. And roads like this, where I'm then having to actually turn off onto a small road up here and take these sharp turns, yeah, I'm sacrificing traveling at top speed for a while, but only for a certain point. So, now the tricky thing is where to get to next. We're trying to get to Gdansk, as that sign says. So we're on the right road. Unfortunately, this is where the service boundaries are really awkward, because there's a few competing interests coming in from multiple angles, and it's a bit of a nightmare. So there's a couple of places that might be where I can jump forwards all the way to Gdansk, but I might have to go a little bit further than I want. We shall see. The car was turning, and I was just hoping that he wasn't going to turn while I was crossing.
Go straight.
Taking these corners a little bit gingerly because I'm not familiar with these roads. Sometimes the corners also aren't cambered very well. Thankfully, traffic is light at the moment. Once again, it's like, this is a twisty road with very limited scope for overtaking. It's the sort of road that ideally you kind of want to avoid. And it's a case of now, is it actually worth just going a little bit further distance? Because just to get to Gdansk, I could go left a lot more earlier. Like I could go a lot further west and then north, and it might mean less driving on a road like this. Or it might be a similar road but with fewer turns. And that could be worth it.
Go straight.
Once again, cannot make bricks without clay. We need to try these things before we can compare anything against them. And given I don't have nearly as much time as I would like to dedicate to running this game, or indeed any game, if I can get something up for other people to learn from, then all the better. I'll be able to send it out into the world and let people pick it apart. It's kind of what happened with most of the leaderboards for this game, so I'm pretty happy with that. I still wish I'd gotten to doing an explore circuit, but maybe separately. I don't think I've got any coverage of Corsica on this account, or this profile, so maybe. So up here, just after we get onto this main road, is actually where we want to start testing whether or not we can walk. It's like, oh great, we're off the back road and onto the main road. Time to see if we can just skip ahead. So if this was the main road the whole way, it would be so much nicer. Okay. We'll wait until we're off this corner, because these are really annoying. Cruise control is going to be going way faster than I want, but so Poznan is where I was thinking that I could have ended up. And then I'd be going more north from there, but it's kind of backtracking almost from there. I'd end up kind of going northeast again from there, which is a bit awkward. So let's see here. Yeah, that's the other side. So this is kind of a weird convergence of multiple different areas. Still there. I'm fairly sure it's north of where I've put my pin. I'm hoping it's just before the toll booth. Not yet. Gdansk. There we go.
Rerouting.
So it's just before the toll booth. You can kind of scream at the toll booth and then just teleport. Okay.
Recomputing.
Now we go to take a ferry. Several, in fact. So we'll see if the load remover cries at me. I'll be taking it relatively slow between anyway.
Keep left, and then turn left.
So I've got to hope that I've got the right one, because there's two different ports from here.
Keep right, and then turn right. Finding new route.
Okay, so from here... Yes, we go up there.
Never mind.
So that's Poland
Find
done.
a new route.
And then we actually want to go back onto the ferry again straight away. And go across to Ventspils.
Rerouting.
I have no idea what the GPS is going to tell me to do now. But I have discovered a new viewpoint, which is nice. Yes, I want to go south, thank you. I don't think I want to service walk directly from here, because then it's actually a bit further to drive back to this intersection up here.
Get ready to turn left.
So we are now in Latvia, I believe. My manager would be happy with me.
Keep right, and then turn right. Turn right.
Gonna squeeze through here. Yep. Cool. Probably go a bit more brave on corners like that, but... Lucky.
Keep left, and then turn left. Turn left.
Right, so now we just charge down this coastal road, basically. Until we get down to... Okay, I wasn't sure what he was doing. Until we get down to basically that petrol station, I think. There is a weird T intersection up here.
Turn right.
It's basically when I can see the other services and I'm stopping seeing where I just came from. At least I think I want the services, as opposed to just going straight to the ferry. Yeah, there's the services, just coming into view. So, we'll start testing. In fact, we're already there. Okay, cool. That's nice.
Okay, let's find a new route.
Now, let's jump into the services again. Not the services, the ferry again.
Turn left. At the roundabout, take the second exit. Exit now.
All of this instead of just driving to Travemünde, basically. Stop. Travemünde. 26 hours and 30 minutes in real time. No, in game time. But not in real time. So if I walk from here, I end up in Rostock. This is a little part of the Tampere-Catania route as well. And what they do is get to the end of this T intersection up here and just basically make as if to go into the field and then warp, and that takes you to Hamburg. Unfortunately, Hamburg is good for going south. It is terrible for going where I want to go. So we can't do that, unfortunately. We'll have to... May as well just wait for that truck, to be honest. Because that was going to be nasty otherwise. And I just have to go round this corner. I'm fairly sure. And then I should be able to jump ahead to Kale, I think it is. So I'm fairly sure all along here, this is still in the Hamburg zone. The hamburger, if you will. Yes, this is still the Hamburg zone. It's like the Twilight Zone, but it's a lot tastier. Let's see where we cross the... Ah, okay, so we're already crossed to Kale. I'm gonna just get rid of my GPS pin by driving across it instead, but we know that we can actually go back sooner. So that's good. That's why you test things out in advance of where you think you're going. You may trust yourself, but always double check. If nothing else, your initial run is never going to be perfect. Unless you just keep going and going and going until you get a perfect first submission, but that's no way to live. That doesn't seem like fun. Believe me, I've done it before. It's not a good idea, because then you'll think that you've done it, you'll spend so much effort grinding down this run that you think, ah, great, I've got this perfect run, my corners are clean, my routes are good, my skips are all well timed, and then someone will come along and go, oh, but you could just do this. Or, how about if we go this way instead? Or, I tried this and it was faster. And you've just wasted probably 3 times as much time as you needed to. Because if you'd just done a first impression that was a bit rough, kind of like this, and then other people start looking at it and going, interesting, but how about we go this way? Or, I'm going to try this instead, and then they post their results. And then you get to compare. And it's like, okay, yeah. This is actually faster, or this is actually faster, or we combine ideas and we'll take some elements of this, we'll go here, but then we'll go there. And it's just a much more pleasant experience because you're collaborating on things anyway, but it saves you a lot more time than you might otherwise waste by just tunnel visioning on, I think this is the best way to go. Like Elko San Diego in American Truck Simulator, I was just following the same route everyone else was doing for a long time. I tried getting a little bit creative here and there. We added in the in-game time version as well. And it was like, okay, yeah, so this is kind of working, and you go through a slightly different route and try a different game version and stuff like that. And then I just thought pretty much just a couple of weeks ago, I was thinking, why aren't we driving through Las Vegas? why are we going on the motorway? Because the motorway is at the 3-to-1 timescale, but if you drive through the town, it's probably going to be 20-to-1 in some places. And it shaved off 10 in-game minutes, even with a pretty rough first go at it. So, you know, don't always stick to what you think is best. Try different things. Test them. So coming up here, it's the same thing with gearboxes in this, to be honest. Coming up here should... now, this is where it gets tricky, because there's 3 different places I could go. We're just leaving the Kale zone again. Okay, still in the Kale zone currently. It's like calzone. Tasty. Hit the border crossing. Odense. See, now that's what I was worried. I don't want to go to Odense. It's too far out of the way. I want to go to Esbjerg, which is more off to the left, but the services is further away than I would like. And I'm not sure how far I have to go to get to them, because I'm getting closer and closer to Odense. You can see the services top left just coming into view. I probably want to be on the left-hand side of the road, to be honest, for this. Still Odense. If I was on the other side of the road, I'd just be a little bit further away. I don't know if there's a good way to machinate that, but that's something to review the footage on, and then see, oh, hang on, I could have crossed the centre line at X point, and then I'll know. But we're starting to curve away now. Yeah, we're starting to get closer to Esbjerg now. Still Odense currently. I'm hoping it's before this big corner up here. Possibly not. I wanted it to be before the intersection. Gross.
Exit right.
Well, we'll go this... Oh, good. Just as well, because I was about to crash.
Okay.
So technically, that's Germany done. I don't know whether to split there or not. It could be Germany plus Denmark, I guess, but now we're just across the road from the ferry, which is really nice. So we just drive across the road to take the boat. Ooh, almost worried I was going to smack into that truck. Now we go across to Hull. Once again, instant in real time, takes forever in game time, but we don't care about that. We're now going to look for places again, and now we're going to go down to Rotterdam, I think it is. Maybe this is Amsterdam, I can't remember. And now we've got a little bit of driving to do. How do I get out of here? Oh, okay. It parks you very, very strangely there. Should have gone left. Never mind.
Let's find a new route.
So here I know where the service warp point is pretty precisely, or at least I used to, because this is... We're going backwards on the Edinburgh to London route at this point.
Turn left.
Rotterdam, yeah. So we want to get to Amsterdam port instead. I should be driving on the shoulder on the left-hand side instead. It would be much faster, but we're doing things that are safer at the moment.
Keep left, and then turn left.
He says driving 160 kilometers an hour. Safer.
Turn left.
But yeah, then I'd be able to take a nicer corner on that way if I was going that way. That's fine. Now, I know where to warp this direction, theoretically, but I won't recognize it very well from this direction, because I'm usually coming the other way. So I need to go through this tunnel, and there's this tricky bend up here. I need to go through all of that. Honestly, I don't know, I'm of two minds about whether I actually want to warp to Amsterdam. I feel I might not. I might want to actually stay on the main road. Yeah, because that would actually be worse versus just staying on the main road and just getting through. And this is where I should actually be on the left-hand side, because there's the little grass skip that we normally do. It's this tunnel here that I think we normally walk back to Rotterdam. Yeah, so it's the grass on the left up here that we normally go down. We normally come up, sorry. That I wanted to go down, probably. So that's, yeah, again, that's just learning, so from the port, you want to be on the left-hand side. You want to turn left, stay left. It's risky. There's traffic coming towards you. But it's much quicker when you come here, because that whole turn that we just did, you wouldn't have to do. You just come screaming down the on-ramp there. Which is also risky in its own way, but especially this far into the run, that's the other thing, is that after spending an hour driving, how many risks are you wanting to take? If you're grinding for world record, you've got to take a lot. So I should have turned across the traffic there, but again, playing it safe. But also, if you were on the left-hand side of the road, then you'd be able to jump through that a lot easier. And then we want the boat up here. We also want to get through this traffic, see if we play. Dunker.
Finding new route.
And stop and overshoot. And I didn't even turn the engine off. There we go. And now we go up to Newcastle.
Recomputing.
So that's probably where I should actually split that section. I'll just call it all Germany. So here it's gonna be interesting. But again, I know the inverse warp points. I know basically where I need to get to before I can jump northwards. Coming from here to go to Aberdeen is actually kind of nice, because you normally walk all the way to Newcastle and then have to come back up this way to get to the ferry. But it's still faster than driving the intermediate road. But instead we're not doing that, obviously. Oh, I'm meant to be on the left-hand side of the road through here, aren't I?
Exit now.
I mean, I say that as if I've been driving on the wrong side of the road for half the time anyway, or at various points. Bump the mouse. Just gonna brake like coast and then brake nice and early for this corner here, because it's a nasty one. Not sure if it would be better to go on further back, but depends where you can cross the center line, because we're going to be on the inside line of this corner by coming down here. So this is at least a fairly straight section, and it's a section I remember fairly well from the Aberdeen-Bratislava IGT run. So, difference being I'm usually going the other direction. But I know that I can theoretically max speed a lot of this. Actually, I can't on this patch. Never mind. This version, I cannot take this corner full speed. We need to get up to where there's some switchbacks. So coming into the middle on the GPS now. So it's up this hill basically. We are running up that hill. That's the cool thing these days, isn't it? Something like that. So it's after this section here that we should be able to now jump forwards soon. No. Guess it's further than I thought. Oh, it's the sign here. That's right. It's usually facing the other way. Edinburgh. There we go. We're getting there. Getting there slowly.
Never mind. I'll find a new route. Turn right.
Now this one is harder to remember going back the other way.
Turn left.
And I'll actually stay going this way longer because it's fewer intersections, which means I get up more speed in between them. This isn't even an intersection, it's just a chicane. We're a bit far from salt water, but you get the idea.
Second exit. Exit now.
A little bit timid through there, but hey, can you blame me? I'm an hour and 5 minutes into a speedrun. Hour 10 technically, pretty much, into a speedrun.
Get ready to turn right.
Like, I should probably be on the right hand side of the road up here, but
Turn right.
I mean technically this way I have more of an angle. You're coming down here, aren't you? That's annoying. This is the side that you kind of want to be on for further. Now to get to... it'll be going to Glasgow first. So I actually don't know the service point going this way, I don't think.
Go straight.
I think I've found it before, but I can't remember it.
Go straight.
Because basically I need to be careful I don't go across to Glasgow. Actually, maybe it will be okay, because it's around where that N90 sign is on the GPS, because it's before that twisty-turny bit, I think. There's like a couple of... Or is it? No, it's not. Is it? It's been too long since I've done Aberdeen-Bratislava RTA. I can't remember. All I can think of is the place that I normally split for going south in IGT. That's not much use. Fairly sure I need to actually get... Oh, it's about that petrol station. That's where it is. It's about that petrol station. Just after that petrol station. On the right-hand side. That's where I need to go, I think. I actually wonder whether or not it's better to keep going a little bit further on, even on this road, maybe? I would have to plot it out. And that would probably just take you too close to Glasgow, actually. Because, yeah, you don't normally see this bit in RTA, but you do have to navigate it in IGT. But after all of the twisty bits along the sides of the locks up here, you don't quite get to the service station before you skip. So I have to go slightly past the gas station in this case. I might recognize it now once I'm there going the other way. Let's not crash just right now. We're too close. We are too close to throw it away now. Come on. Keep it together. Yep, so I've got to pass the services, and there's a bit of a nasty corner up here past the services, so I need to be careful of that. There's traffic coming the other way. And it's around these signs here, I think, actually. That's still Edinburgh. Maybe it's down here instead. Nope, Aberdeen.
Finding new route.
I call it done, despite, I mean, there's a loading screen and then I appear the Aberdeen services. Technically that instant that I load is when it's done, but for all intents and purposes, we're done when we skip. Well, that's kind of a relief to have done something now. And now we can start breaking that down. Can check footage and stuff and see what would be better. There's certainly some obvious refinements, there's some less obvious refinements. It's going to be difficult to see where we skipped there because I have driven, I initially did a run from Aberdeen to Istanbul before we decided to flip it around and go the other way instead. So yeah, so that intersection there is when you jump up to Pleven. Just after around here is when you jump up to Craiova. I was right, and just after that viewpoint is when you jump to Machora. I can't remember how I'm supposed to pronounce that. And then just before the border control to Szeged, and then up here, jump to Budapest. From here, this is where we can start to see where we actually did the warps here, up to Banska Bystrica. So the point being that that doesn't seem like a very long way, but we're missing out these intersections. And I can't remember exactly where this was. That wasn't a very long way either, but we're skipping a couple of intersections, and we'd have had to either go this way or just through here anyway, so it's kind of fine. Here we unfortunately have to navigate this bit, but we don't have to navigate this bit, and we jump up here. And then we go across here. Had to go a little bit further than I expected to be able to jump there, but again, that's more direct than having to do this switch back here to go north. The warp point to get to Lodz, I think, from Krakow is tricky because Lublin kind of confuses it. That might be something to review though. It might actually be just better to drive north and jump straight across. Then here, again, all these twisty roads, is it better to go this way to here and then go up here? Probably not. I think you have to cross this bit here anyway, so you've got, yeah, again, that's the sort of thing you have to test. Maybe it would be better off. And is it worth doing all of this jumping around to come across here? I don't know. It might not be worth it. It's fun though. And that's pretty important to me. That was definitely fun, the fact that you just pinballed around the Baltics and the whatever the sea is called. Good fun. Anyway, we're gonna call it there. That's some good fun. Hope you enjoyed that as much as I did, or maybe even more. Unlikely, because that was fun. But hope you enjoyed it. Hope that it might inspire you to participate in some of this madness. There are much shorter runs than an hour and 15 minutes. This should be sub-hour. I'm pretty positive. 50's probably pushing it. Sub-hour, I think, should be on the cards though. We'll see if I manage to grind it down that much, but hopefully someone else more enthusiastic in the community might. But yeah, take care, have fun, play more games.